We're going to get started on our panel. Good so far? Good use of time? I think we can all passionately talk about this for a long time. I just want to make sure that it's useful for you. I'm going to move the chairs because it's a little awkward to sit behind the podium. If it was up to me, we would just stand.
We can just stand.
I'm actually good with standing. If you guys are good with standing, that would be awesome. You're good with standing?
Yeah, why not?
That's great. All right, let me do some introductions. Arvind's going to get a little jumpy because he has to go. So he was like, telling me about it. Arvind Jain is CEO of Glean. I've got to, by the way, this is specifically from his PR group, so I have to read it. I'm just kidding. Whose mission is to bring people the knowledge they need to make a difference in the world. Before Glean, Arvind spent a bunch of years at Google. He has a deep understanding of scalable architectures. The hat tells it all. He's deeply technical. That was a joke. A fun fact about Arvind, as he was a kid, he just enjoyed the moment, randomly stumbled into a brochure for IIT, and that's how he got to be an engineer. He's a great guy. I've got a chance to spend time with him. We're a big customer of Glean, and so you will hear him talk about Glean, and it actually makes a difference. It is the most productive Gen AI app that we run within DataStax, to give you a sense. So welcome.
Thank you.
Ritika Gunnar, GM of Data and AI at IBM. I actually met her while she was at Google, at GCP. A computer scientist by trade and an entrepreneur at heart. She's passionate, very passionate, by the way, gets super excited about building cutting-edge tech solutions, but mostly to solve customer problems, right? It's not technology for itself. She's really excited about IBM Watson, the company's AI and data platform designed to help customers scale and accelerate the impact of AI across the business. Fun fact about Ritika, in her free time, she finds joy in hiking and immersing herself in nature. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I got a chance to meet Amanda earlier. She was actually doing the DataStax pitch. She said, she's from NVIDIA. She said, there is no AI without data. I said, why don't you do my talk, right? So Amanda is the director of Gen AI product marketing at NVIDIA. Her colleagues describe her as reliable, diligent, and a force of nature. She's passionate about working with amazing technologies. She's been at NVIDIA for 10 years, right? When they used to be like this, let's power video games. So she's been there when they were not that cool. So a fun fact about, what's a fun fact about Amanda?
Oh.
What's a fun fact about you?
What is a fun fact about me? I'm a history major. Let's throw that one out there.
Well, that's kind of
cool.
So
I love your quote about history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. I'm going to remember that.
All right, so let's get started. We have a bunch of questions. Let's start with you, Amanda. How is the adoption of Gen AI going?
I mean, I think this room just showed us.
I know, it kind of like blows you away, right?
I felt like about 50% of people in this room raised their hand and said, we're doing production AI, which I think is amazing and good for you. Because, if we'd asked this question a year ago, I think it would have been a trickle of hands and people saying, well, we're still trying to figure it out. So I think we're definitely getting there. People are getting in, they're experimenting, they're trying different things, and then they're figuring out that path to production and all of the hurdles that you have to go from that experimentation to production phase. And as we start to learn how to deploy AI in production, it becomes much more repeatable. So getting that first use case in is important.
Always.
And then you grow and grow and grow.
So Ritika, what patterns are you seeing? By the way, you can jump in on each of your questions. They're not specific. So I said I made a big deal about 2024 as production AI. You and I have talked about this before. What patterns are you seeing? Is it, is Devor off for lunch, or he's like?
I thought the patterns that Devor showed were actually really good in terms of what are the things that are happening at the edge, what are the things that are happening when you really think about the next kind of turn of the crank that's happening with agentic. One of the things that we're seeing is, as many of you are experimenting and then putting your generative AI into production, you're really doing that starting at use cases where you can, if you need to, fail fast and learn and figure out what it means to be able to put things in production. Some of the use cases that we saw where you're doing it in either customer service, the call center. We within IBM as Client Zero have used it within our HR transformation, our employee transformation, what we've done in sales and marketing. So we're seeing a lot of these use cases where you can easily do things either at the edge or to be able to do things that really improve your experience. I think this next wave, and you didn't ask this, but I'm going to tell you, this next wave is about back-end office transformation. So that front end really teaches you what are the changes in the technology, in the people, in the process that I have to really learn to be able to get things in production. You guys are doing that. And as we learn from that, then it's like, how do I transform the back-end essential things and go to that transformative stage that you're talking about?
I think it's very well put. So I'll just put this in context. A lot of people think Uber was just the app, right? Uber was actually much more the app. It was actually the back office processing.
Back office.
How do they get money to different people, to the drivers? How they charge customers? And is that fair? Is that a fair description?
Absolutely fair. And I think that's where we're seeing the experience transformation. We're seeing some of the I'm going to say front office transformation, the back office is starting. And that's where I think we're in the second trough of generative AI that's about to really explode, because as you unlock the back office transformation, that's where you'll get the transformative use cases that you had in the slide, which I loved.
Yeah, that's awesome. Arvind, what's your take?
Well, I mean, I think in terms of excitement for Gen AI, this is unparalleled. I've never seen like this kind of energy so fast, in every enterprise that we work with. And so in terms of use cases, again, we're seeing a lot of real impact across different business functions. And I think I like the way you put it there. It's the mindset is shifting from, hey, how do I save, $30% to how I can actually really transform and do better work. And that's sort of what we see, again with Glean as well. People are implementing Gen AI, they're building, different applications, and it's not really translating into nobody's reducing their time, their team sizes yet.
Yes.
But I think they're actually doing, the quality of work is improving, the quality of products is improving. So it's really amazing.
Amanda, this is for all three of you. And from your different points of view, any verticals that you see that are moving faster than the others? Because you all have a different point of view. You're seeing different parts of the Gen AI elephant, or Bodhi, right? So what is your perspective? What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, we're here in New York City. I think one of the industries that we're seeing move really fast is financial services. And I will say,
by the way, that never said together, right? Regulated financial services, not because financial services used to be the fastest growing, the early adopters of tech, but since 2008, they've been kind of slowed down quite a bit, right?
100%. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that for me, that's not a sentence I say a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that we're seeing this, and it shows that the reward outweighs the risk.
Correct.
And I think that's really important. We're also seeing a lot in the telecom industries and the services industries across the board, but telco is, I think, a big industry where they're trying to transform and build new revenue streams. And so they're seeing generative AI as a huge opportunity and leaning in. But I think your slide said it all, the hug slide, is that this is every industry.
Yeah.
So some will get there a little bit faster than others, but I think everyone's got skin in the game these days.
Ritika, what do you think?
I'm going to answer it a little bit differently, because it's not necessarily the industries, but the use cases that cut across industries.
Yes.
So I think I love the slide, which it was 30% cost savings, and it's being 30% more effective. I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. And when I look at things like that, it's how do I make my developers more productive wherever they are? So we're seeing Gen AI for code. That's one area where we see quite a bit. The second, as I told you, and what it means to be able to have a better view of your client, to be able to have a personalized view, to be able to have that hyper-personalization is an area that we're seeing. And also, as I mentioned in the contact center, we're starting to see now, how do I make what I have more effective? And these are, I'm going to say, functions that exist within organizations. How can I make my HR function more effective? And how can I also, at the same time, be cost effective at it? And so we're seeing that for use cases like human resources, supply chain, procurement, marketing, legal, sales, and you see that across the board of how can I improve productivity of the people who are in those functions, or to be able to get the right outcomes from those functions.
That's, thank you. So Arvind, Glean tackles the productivity paradox, right, quite well. Tell us a little bit about how you do it. And you know, it's not like you just shipped your software, you know, your service yesterday. You've been doing it for a while. What has been the journey, and how has generative AI like taken it to the next level?
Yeah. So Glean started out not as a generative AI product, but it's as a search engine for people inside a company. So you can think of it like Google. Like Glean connects with all of your company's data and information that resides in all these different, you know, SaaS systems or your on-prem systems, and it gives people one place where they can go and ask questions and find information. So that's how we started. And you know, the reason for why we started it was the industry went through this, you know, SaaS transformation and this big SaaS sprawl, like in every enterprise, like, you know, like basically ended up with, you know, hundreds or sometimes even more than 1,000 applications inside their company, and information sort of getting, you know, really distributed across all these different places, and nobody knows where to go and find things. So that's how we started. When we started, language models are actually already making their impact in the search, you know, teams. In fact, like all these large language models originally got invented at Google, and it was actually, you know, it was done, you know, they were actually being worked on and researched to make Google search better. So as search engineers, like, you know, as my background, as most of our team's background, we knew that language model, you know, held big power, and so we've been using them, you know, from the beginning. Their generative capabilities were limited, you know, to begin with, but over time it increased, and so now Glean actually functions more like ChatGPT, but with all the enterprise context. So you can come in and ask questions, and it's going to use your company knowledge to answer those questions for you.
That's awesome. Ritika, two-part question. I think Arvind brings a good point, right? It's not just the tech. He's applying tech, right? He's for you and for us, it'll be like they're a customer, right? They're actually implementing an app. How do you talk to CIOs about people and process, right? Because it is changing, right? I mean, the stack is new. There are the Scrum teams are a different shape and form now, and the processes have to be different. Like if we have customers who get the project done fairly quickly, and then this is their first one, and so it takes forever to put it into production.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think we didn't talk about, you know, I think at the beginning we were talking about, are we at this trough of disillusionment about generative AI? And the answer to me is definitely a no. If you think about what has happened in the last 12 to 18 months, what we've really done is unlock the power. Generative AI has unlocked the power of artificial intelligence to the entire organization. Just think about it for a moment. It's now not locked in with the data scientists in the organization. You've unlocked it for every developer in the org. And with the low-code ways of like certain applications that exist out there, now you've unlocked it for a line of business user. And so the power of now embedding AI technologies has now gotten 99% easier. Now, that still means, though, you have to understand with something that is generative AI, where you need to understand how the AI actually works. You need to understand and manage like your compliance and your risk postures. That becomes something that's important, but you now have unlocked something that has traditionally been isolated to one part of the organization across an org. And that's why I think we're just seeing the beginning, because as we start to figure out how to deal with the compliance and the risk aspects and how to manage that in those back-end office systems, and that is being done, we're unlocking and giving that power to a part of the business we never have before.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. How is watsonx helping?
Well, from our perspective, watsonx is really about build with whatever LLMs you want to, whether you are a developer, whether you actually have business automation flows that you, especially with the agentic stuff that's coming out, it is no longer about having a straight workflow when you're a back-end process. Now agents are going to decide through function calling and planning agents how things are automatically routed and how things are actually flowing, not just in those front-end systems, in the back-end systems. So how we do that while adhering to risk and compliance, regardless of what model you choose, whether you choose an IBM Granite model, whether you choose Meta Llama's model, whether you choose Mistral's models, and do that in a way that the developer can easily build, yet your run and manage aspects of that are under control is really important to us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you. So I said this when I was up on stage, Amanda, that a lot of people think of NVIDIA and GPUs, right? And they don't know that you have a multi-billion-dollar software business. And we obviously are big fans. We've implemented it. We get our developers get the savings, and we're doing a lot more with you. 30 seconds on NeMo.
Yeah, so I've worked at NVIDIA 10 years, I just have to say this, and I have worked on software the entire time. So it is my entire career that people have been like, oh yeah, you're the GPU company, right? NeMo is our platform for building custom AI. So starting with these foundation models is amazing. They're powerful, they're intelligent, but they don't understand your business. They don't speak your language, whether that's the language of finance, of healthcare, or of your specific company. So in order to make these really valuable and really useful, we need to be able to customize them. So NeMo helps us with all of those different pieces, from curation to customization, fine-tuning, all the way to evaluation, and then retrieval augmented generation, which I think we've talked about a lot here. RAG is about talking to that data, connecting those pieces. So NeMo is an end-to-end platform, and when you've done that, we also output these models, these custom models that you've trained and built as NVIDIA NIM, which allows you to run them anywhere, accelerated, optimized, so you get the most out of those powerful NVIDIA GPUs.
Wow, word for word, you nailed it. That was great, thank you. So one last question for you, and then we're going to rapid fire. Amanda, last year you said Gen AI is hitting its iPhone moment. And I think the iPhone moment, in my mind, obviously, as a fanboy for everything that Steve has ever done in his life, yeah, I think of it as two parts. One, great slick hardware, took a bunch of devices, put them together, that's awesome. But the iPhone also had an Angry Birds moment, right? I mean, and it actually lasted for a while.
Yeah.
So what do you think of it now, given your comment last year?
Yeah, I think, the iPhone moment was about things coming mainstream. People all of a sudden realized they had this device in their pocket that could do everything, including Angry Birds, when that came out. And I think generative AI is now going past this, oh my God, this is an amazing technology, into how do I embed this in my everyday. Arvind, you hit the nail on the head that AI is only as valuable as the people using it. And I think that's the stage that we're starting to get at. People are getting their hands on generative AI. They're thinking generative AI questions before they're thinking search.
Correct.
They're really starting to use it. So I think the adoption phase, the production phase, that's definitely where we're seeing things. And I think it's just going to explode from here. I loved the 2024 and beyond predictions. I think we don't know yet where this is all going to take us.
Any thoughts on this? On the iPhone moment and how it goes?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, I think Gen AI feels bigger to me than the iPhone moment, by far. I think the iPhone was great, but didn't capture people's imagination like Gen AI is. And I think we are here, like I feel like, my prediction, like, and you're going to do rapid fire, but my prediction is that in 5 years from now, all of our jobs are going to be looking very, very different from what they are today. Right. And I think this transformation is going to come faster than what all of us can imagine. Yeah. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
I totally agree. Ritika, your thoughts?
So I think just like when the iPhone had its moment, it was wow at the beginning, and then there was the, holy moly, I got to figure out, like, what does an app store really mean? Who are the providers that are going to provide the apps? What do those apps look like in terms of how you purchase them, how you buy them, how you experience them, how you get productivity out of them? I think we're in that moment now. Yeah. Where it's like, how are we really thinking about operationalizing, scaling, really driving value from it? I think that's where we are right now.
Yeah, that's great. All right, I'm going to ask some rapid fire questions, and I know, Arvind, you have to run, so I did tell them that you're going to get jumpy at the end. So there's one, so I'll start with you, Arvind. What's one unpopular opinion you have about AI? Unpopular, cannot be, it's going to be faster in 5 years.
Well, I mean, I think the AI is actually, I don't know, it's hard to be rapid fire on this because, there are opinions on both sides on almost all the topics.
Yeah.
So I believe that AI is actually going to be, like, people are talking about the trough of disillusionment. I think AI is going to have way bigger impact than what anybody else here can imagine.
AGI in 2 years, Amanda.
Agentic workflows, AI working with AI, and software building software.
In 2 years.
Yeah, we'll see the starts of it.
Wow.
We're starting to see some of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think in 2
I
years?
think 2 years.
I think we'll see some of that in the next few years, yeah.
Wow, AI working with AI. So
I
what
actually-
Devor talked
Our
about.
research team has stuff that we're looking at right now. Yeah.
Wow.
It feels scary for sure.
Yeah, I know it does. Unpopular opinions?
Students should use AI in school.
Yes.
that's a good one.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
For me, it's like AI is an ingredient. Don't expect it to solve and be successful just on its own. It really is about the outcomes that you want to generate. People, like I see a lot of CXOs that are putting a lot of money into it, and I'm like, where's the thought into the use cases, what it's going to power, how it's going to power it? It doesn't just become a success overnight because you're investing in Gen AI.
If AI allowed you to talk to any historical figure, who would you choose?
I would choose, well,
Dead or alive?
Steve Jobs.
Great.
Marie Curie, I'm a big advocate for women in technology.
That's awesome. That's great.
Neil Armstrong, I'd want to know what it was like to land on the moon.
That's awesome. Amanda, starts with you. What's your favorite app on Gen AI so far? Can't say Nemo.
I
Nor
can't
can you
think-
say
Well,
green.
no. We don't make apps. We make the things that other people make into apps. I love Perplexity.
I do too.
That's got to be, that's the
I would
new
agree.
Wikipedia wormhole for those who haven't used it yet. I spend hours with
That's awesome.
Perplexity.
I'm a strong Perplexity user too.
Awesome.
GitHub Copilot for me.
That's awesome. All right. This has been great. Thank you very much. I know you have to run, Arvind. The rest of the panel, if you can stay. Any questions from the audience?